Last week I got a message with this drawing in it from Samuel Vicenzo, who asked for some feedback. I sent him this sketch with some tips, and since he had some follow-up questions, I decided to make this video. First of all, I really like his drawing. This arm is done very well. Phase 2, the pose is very cool. Just that, for me, it looks a bit flat, as if a standing pose had the arms and legs moved to the side. So if I would start with this idea in mind, I'd start from curves, just so that the line from the chest to the front arm is not that sharp. So let's give it a couple of tries. My main point is not to have the chest be too straight, that way it'll be more dynamic. Okay, I'm happy with this underlying stick figure, because it has those two curves, the arms and one from head to toe. Next step, packing on the shapes. And make sure not to forget to draw the sole of the foot, especially if the person is wearing shoes. You definitely have to get the outline of the sole. One more layer for detail. And I'm having a bit of trouble with the back arm here, so I decided to do some research. Here's John Byrne Superman and Jim Lee Wolverine. And you can see how they pieced the delt and biceps together, kind of like roof tiles where the delt is on top and then the pec and biceps slide underneath. Okay, one more try. The quads are always tricky because there's so many muscles there, but a good trick is to draw the fasces medialis and lateralis as coming together to shape the knee. The rectus femoris is the one in the middle. Here a huge version by Stephen Platt, but usually a bit higher like here with John Byrne. Also make sure the adductors reach all the way to the top. Now for the hard part, the shadowing. Muscles or shapes push together so they create deep grooves that get a black shadow. Then depending on where the light comes from, a secondary lighter shadow appears on the other side of the light. And this gray we have to turn into lines because of the inking, so we use hatching. There are so many ways to go, so let's check some of the grades. Here's John Byrne again with the deep black and then minimal hatching, which is done in a curve moving along with the curvature of the shape of the muscle. Michael Turner is a great artist, but he hardly uses hatching. In this whole upper body only about 3 times. And what he does instead is draw a ton of muscles and then erase some of the lines. He then has this cool double line or diamond shape, which creates some depth as well. It's very unique, and when you connect them, you see the outlines are very anatomically correct. Here's Gil King with another classic example like Byrne. He does have some cross-hatching here in the quad, so thinking about the quad shape in 3D and then crossing the lines where the gradient gets the darkest. Okay, I'll start with just the outlines and then dropping the blacks. Which brings me to a McFarlane example. He does the classic curved hatching. Then on the big side blacks, he erases a part which gets a counter light, so I'll do that as well. And what McFarlane often does is use very thin parallel lines to create a lighter shadow, which can be used for a larger area. I'll use that here in the biceps. That way it creates a depth separation between shoulder, upper arm and underarm. Okay, then create the transitions from blacks to light with curved hatching. Some cross hatching in the leg. And the foot is a good part to use those parallel lines. And I'll also drop them here on the leg, again to set it apart from the torso and the lower leg. And I really like that McFarlane Superman, so I'm using the exact same color scheme and background to see how it looks. Yeah, pretty cool. But actually I think Samuel was going for a bit of that Mike Mignola look as well, so let's check that. Mignola drops very big hard shadows and then fades them using short thick lines. My advice here is not to make them that long, or if they are long, then use more of them so you get a more gradual fade effect. Add some color, and now it looks like Quicksilver instead of Johnny Storm. Okay, so to summarize, my advice to Samuel is this. As practice, take a drawing from a comic and reverse engineer it. This is a mistake I used to make. I would just redraw the inks. But like we saw in the Michael Turner Superman, the underlying structures are always there for the artist. So a better way is to recreate it as if you would be drawing it from scratch, so with all the underlying structures. Anyway, I hope this was useful. I think it's a fun concept, taking a drawing you guys send me and then pick up some things to practice from those. Yeah, I'm not a pro Marvel illustrator, but like when you learn a language, sometimes you get the best tips from those who are just a bit better than you. Drop a like if you like this video and catch you next time.